Did you know that a simple misunderstanding of Wisconsin's tax laws could literally cost your business thousands of dollars before you've even made your first major sale? Well, it's true. Welcome to this explainer on how to apply for a Wisconsin sales tax permit. Look, if you're doing business in the Badger State, understanding this isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely critical for your business's survival.
So let's just dive right in with a number that should definitely grab your attention. 25%. Operating without proper tax compliance can actually trigger a negligence penalty of up to 25% right on top of your estimated taxes. And honestly, that's not all. The state taxes on a 1.5% monthly interest rate for unpaid taxes, and they'll slap you with a flat $20 to $50 late fee just for missing a filing deadline. The stakes here are incredibly high, but the good news? Avoiding these penalties is completely within your control. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering understanding sales tax permits, eligibility criteria for businesses, the steps to apply today, post-application filing procedures, and finally, some additional help and resources. All right, let's get into it. Section 1, Understanding Sales Tax Permits. This is really your shield against penalties. Think of this permit as your official shield against those massive penalties we just talked about. It's basically the legal authorization from the state allowing you to collect and remit sales tax. Not only does it protect you if you ever get audited, but it instantly boosts your credibility with suppliers and customers. But here's what's really interesting about how Wisconsin actually calculates this tax. They use something called destination-based sourcing. This means you don't charge tax based on where your warehouse or office is located, you charge it based on where the customer takes delivery. And this brilliantly illustrates why you really need to pay attention to overlapping local jurisdictions. While the base state rate is an even 5%, counties and cities can add their own taxes on top of that. For example, if you sell to someone in the city of Milwaukee, those overlapping county and city taxes push that combined rate to 7.9%, which is actually the highest in the entire state. So you might be wondering, what exactly are you taxing? Well, tangible personal property, things like clothing and electronics, is almost always taxable. But essential goods, like unprepared grocery food or prescription drugs, those are exempt. Now, what about software? This is where it gets highly specific, so pay attention. If you run an out-of-state software as a service or SaaS company, your product is generally exempt in Wisconsin, provided there is no downloaded code. But if you sell software that the customer actually downloads directly to their hard drive, it suddenly becomes taxable. Also, while most services are exempt, there are specific ones, like landscaping or short-term lodging, that do get taxed. Moving on to Section 2, Eligibility Criteria for Businesses. Let's figure out who actually needs to register. The simple answer for who needs to register is anyone with a tax liability. And that all hinges on understanding this one magic word, nexus. In plain English, nexus is really just the legal connection between your business and a state. If your connection to Wisconsin is strong enough, boom, you have nexus and you immediately have a legal obligation to collect and remit sales tax. This concept basically breaks down into two distinct categories, physical nexus and economic nexus. Physical nexus is pretty obvious. You have a storefront, an employee, or even just inventory sitting in a third-party warehouse somewhere in Wisconsin. Economic nexus, on the other hand, is for remote sellers. Let's say you have zero physical footprint in Wisconsin, but you gross over $100,000 in sales to Wisconsin residents in the current or previous calendar year. In that case, you have economic nexus. And definitely take note of this. Wisconsin actually eliminated their 200 transaction rule back in 2021. So today, that $100,000 revenue mark is the only economic trigger you need to keep your eye on. Now, at this point, you might be asking yourself, well, what if I only sell on a marketplace like Amazon or Etsy? It's a super common point of confusion. Wisconsin has what are called marketplace facilitator laws. This means those platforms are legally required to calculate, collect, and remit the sales tax on your behalf for those specific transactions. However, here is a major warning. Your marketplace sales still count toward your $100,000 economic threshold. If you hit that $100,000 mark and then make even a single direct sale through your own website, you are on the hook for registering and collecting tax on that direct sale. All right, Section 3, Steps to Apply Today. Getting your permit quickly and easily. You know, this application process is surprisingly straightforward, and the state has heavily digitized it to make it as painless as humanly possible. But before you even open up a web browser, you'll want to gather the items on this checklist. You're going to need your legal entity details, your Federal Employer Identification Number, or FINE, and your primary NAICS code, which is just a code that classifies your specific industry. You'll also need all your addresses, the social security numbers of the owners or officers, and an estimated start date of when you'll actually begin making taxable sales. Having all of this prep beforehand is going to prevent your application from timing out or getting delayed.
With your documents in hand, the actual process is just 5 simple steps. Once you've gathered your info, you'll head over to the Wisconsin Department of Revenue's online business tax registration portal, sometimes called the One-Stop Business Portal. From there, you just complete the BTR 101 application form digitally. Next, you pay the fee using a credit card or ACH, and finally, you receive your 15-digit permit number. If you do this all online, the turnaround time is remarkably fast. It usually clears in just 1 to 2 business days.
And here's a quick pro tip regarding the cost. The business tax registration fee is exactly $20. That's literally it. And that $20 covers you for a full 2-year period. After that, it is just a $10 renewal fee every 2 years. Honestly, it's an incredibly small price to pay for total legal compliance.
Now, here is a rather surprising fact buried in the state statutes. The Department of Revenue actually has the right to demand a security deposit of up to $15,000 before they'll even issue your permit. Seriously. They usually only do this for accounts they deem high risk, like if you have a history of delinquent taxes, for example. But the good news? If you stay perfectly compliant and pay everything on time for 24 consecutive months, they will completely refund that deposit back to you.
Section 4. Post-application filing procedures. How to stay compliant after you're approved.
Seeing that 15-digit permit number pop up in your email is a great feeling, but remember, getting the permit is really only the beginning. Now you have to maintain it. Once you're approved, the state will assign you a filing frequency based on your estimated tax liability. If you collect $600 or less per year, you just file annually. If you're somewhere between $601 and $1,200 a quarter, you'll file quarterly. And if you're above $1,200 a quarter, you are filing monthly. Now here's a crucial tip from the tax experts at ZAMP. If your volume is very high, the state might actually assign you to the early monthly tier. That means your filings are strictly due on the 20th of the month, not the standard last day of the month. So definitely don't miss that deadline.
To stay compliant, you'll manage your filings electronically through the state's My Tax Account portal. And get this, if you file and pay on time, Wisconsin actually lets you keep a small percentage of the tax collected as a retailer's discount to help cover your administrative costs. Pretty cool, right? You absolutely must keep all your sales records for at least 4 years. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive trap for new business owners. You must file a return even if you had 0 sales that period. If you fail to file a 0 return, the state will automatically hit you with a $20 to $50 late fee just for being silent. Lastly, if you sell to resellers, make sure you collect and verify their exemption certificates.
Section 5. Additional help and resources. Where to turn when you need support.
Because, let's face it, keeping track of overlapping jurisdictions and varying product taxability gets complicated really fast. But you don't have to do it all alone. For the DIYers out there, the Wisconsin DOR website is packed with guides, and their sales tax rate lookup tool is fantastic for finding the exact rate down to the 9-digit zip code. But if you want to save immense amounts of time and drastically reduce your audit risk, you should really look into software automation platforms like ZAMP, Commenda, Tax Hero, or Numeral. They plug right into your e-commerce platform and handle all the complicated math automatically. And of course, nothing beats consulting a certified local tax professional to review your specific business structure.
All right, let's recap what you should take away from this explainer so you can take confident action today. First, determine if you have physical or economic nexus in Wisconsin, always remembering that key $100,000 threshold. Second, gather your business identifiers like your FIN and NAISCS code. Third, hop online and pay that $20 business tax registration fee to get your permit. And finally, set calendar reminders right now to file your returns on time every single time, even if it's a 0 return. Before we wrap up, please note, the information provided in this explainer is for informational purposes only. Please consult with a professional tax advisor for personalized advice. I'll leave you with this final thought. Based on the Nexus rules we just covered today, is your business unknowingly racking up a 25% negligence penalty in Wisconsin right now? Knowledge is absolutely your best defense. So go check your sales metrics, get registered if you need to, and protect the business you've worked so incredibly hard to build. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy learning.